All right, what up? This is episode 2 of the Who is Marcus Mickens podcast. I want to thank you guys if you are coming back and watching this second episode. I want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not in my room today with this one. Something just told me to just start this video, so I felt like this is the perfect time to do episode 2. Hopefully y'all feeling good out there. Hopefully y'all energy is high. Hopefully y'all feeling blessed and highly favored. I am recording this on a Wednesday, so hopefully it'll come out soon. But yeah, so let's get started. The reason why I'm recording this video is because I want to say first by starting by saying life is short. Life is so short, and it could be gone just like that, you know. So as I was saying in my first video, I have roommates. In the basement is the landlord, and then the whole upper house is pretty much to me and this other person. And this other person is staying in like this other part of the house with her daughter. And then like I have like my own little section of the house. But anyway, so last night, this morning, last night I went to bed, and this morning I was waking up by sounds of like thumping. And I guess I was just now hearing it, and the rest of the house heard it before me because they was already knocking. And I heard like the landlord downstairs saying, "Hey, is everything okay?" But I wasn't hearing a response back from anybody else. So, but I heard the thumping. It was a lot of like moving around, and it sounded like somebody was bumping into something, and that continued on for like a good 5 minutes before I got up. So I put on some clothes, and I go and I follow the sound, and it's the little girl that stays there with her mom. Like, this girl is not like, she's not young, like 8, 9. She's more like a 14 or whatever. So she knows what's going on in these moments, and I guess she's used to her mom drinking and stuff like that before. So she's pretty calm. Like on the outside, she's pretty calm. And I'm like, "Is everything okay?" And she kept knocking on the door. She was like, "My mom is inside, and she won't come out." Now, I'm not gonna lie, my initial reaction was I heard moaning in the bathroom too. So I'm thinking this thumping is late at night. Maybe she got a dude up in there or something. I don't know. But after I knocked, and we kept knocking, and normally, all right, if you in there doing something, and if the whole house is like, "Hey, are you okay?" you would stop what you're doing and be like, "Yes, I'm fine." And that'll probably like fuck up the mood or whatever. So I'm like, no, something has to be wrong. But so I take 2 knives, because I'm like, growing up, you just learn certain shit, and I learned how to pick a lock. So I take 2 knives and I'm trying to wedge the door and get in there to like pick it, but the door is so tight to the heads, like I can't even stick nothing in between that because it's just so tight. But good. I started looking at the door handle. I'm like, okay, cool. It's one of those door handles that have that little small hole that if you poke a hole through it, poke through that hole, pause. That sounded crazy. But if you poke through that hole, you can pop the lock. So I found something really thin, like one of those little sticks that you put on a fire or something like that. I forgot. And I was able to pop the lock. When I popped the lock, she was literally laying over the toilet. But she wasn't really responding. And as soon as like I opened the door, I guess she didn't want me to see her mom like that. So the little girl went into the bathroom, closed the door, like right away. So I was like, I don't know, maybe she's used to this, whatever. I'm gonna like go back into my room and just hear out for her if she needs me. I go back to my room, I lay down, and I'm hearing like still some movement. And I'm like, all right, I'm not about to just leave this little girl with this drunk, grown lady in my head at the time. Cause who the fuck would do that, you know? But anyway, so I go back and I check up on her. I'm like, hey, is everything okay? And the little girl's standing there like, I can't get her out the bathroom. At this point, I'm like, let me see if I can move her by myself. You know, I've been going to the gym. I'm like, let me not make light of the situation, but yeah. I'm like, let me try to move her by myself. Now I grab her upper body, like right where her ribs is at, because I didn't want to be the creep, you know, of course, trying to go for her breast and trying to lift her up. So I went for like her upper body. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. She wasn't a big woman. Like she was like petite, like 5'6", 5'7". And when I say I tried to lift her up, but her weight was so limp, it was so hard to do without me like maybe slipping and dropping her and her hitting her head or something. So I'm like, wait, that is not gonna work. So I tell the daughter, I'm like, listen, you're gonna have to grab her feet and her legs, and I'm gonna have to grab her, like her upper body. We're gonna have to move her. Listen, we had to stop in between. It was like, it's a little distance now, but we had to stop, but it's not that big of a distance to her room from the bathroom, from their bathroom. So we had to stop like 2 or 3 times because she was like just that heavy. So finally we get into the room. It was a task to put her on top of the bed. I did that. I'm like, listen, if you need anything at all, I'm like, come get me. I don't care how late it is. And I'm like, make sure she lays sideways. So like if she starts to choke or something, you know, she won't be choking on her own vomit. So I'm like, all right, she's like on her side now, whatever. I go back into my room thinking like, okay, maybe she's drunk, she's gonna sleep it off, whatever. Now, admittedly, I did notice some things now, looking back in retrospect, like I should have acted sooner. But like I went back to sleep and, well, I tried to go back to sleep, and maybe like 10 to 15 minutes later, 10 minutes, I don't know, because I tend to go to sleep pretty fast, but I didn't feel like I was in a deep sleep. I felt like I had just laid down. And I had a knock at my door. She's like, and now she's crying. Now the little girl's crying. And she's like, can you please come check? I'm hyperventilating. And I checked her pulse and I couldn't find anything, and I'm hyperventilating. That's what I remember her saying. And I'm like, all right, let me go in there. So I go in there and I checked her. Now, my grandma passed like a year ago and maybe a few weeks. And I was there when she passed, and I was there right before she passed. Now, I remember giving my grandma a hug, even though I know she wasn't there mentally. When she was alive, I gave her a hug, and I felt like her skin, her body, it was warm. And then I was there right after she passed as well. And it was like, you could tell the difference, like in the temperature of somebody's body. They get really cold. So when I went to go touch her for her, the lady, my roommate, when I went to go touch her neck to see if I could find a pulse, it felt the same. Now, now the daughter is crying, and I didn't want to seem like I'm like telling this girl her mom maybe just had passed literally right in front of her, or while she was laying next to her. So immediately I called 911, and the lady was super quick. The phone didn't ring long. She's like, boom, what's the address? I have an emergency. I'm telling her what's going on. And it's like, I'm gonna send some paramedics to you as soon as possible, but I need for y'all to put her on the floor. Now I'm looking back, of course, because they wanted me to do compressions. And if she was on the bed, pushing down, that wouldn't have done much. So now I'm like, I know she's limp, and it's like, we gotta now pick her up and put her on the floor. That is another task, because the body ain't really moving the same. So we finally get her on the floor, and the police is like, the lady over the phone is pretty much saying to me, like, listen, I want you to keep doing compressions, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's so crazy that I can say it like that, because she said it so many times over the phone. And I remember pumping this lady's chest, 1, 2, 3, 4, for so long, my arms were tired. Like, my arms were so tight from doing that. But this little girl standing here, crying her eyes out, kind of knowing what's coming, and so afraid. So I'm just pumping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For like forever. It felt like nothing. Finally, you see the flash of the red and the white lights getting closer. Now they're outside your door, and you hear the brakes of the big ambulance braking right in front of you, and you like, thank God they're here. I told her to run to the door and let them in. Then I remember we have dogs, one of which just low-key bit me mistakenly, but he did bite me, and I had the scars to prove it. But anyway, so I'm like, if he sees 4 or 5 men coming in this house, it's going to be an issue. So I'm like, this is another problem now that I got to solve. So I'm like, make sure the dogs are up. Now the lady on the phone is like, dogs? Are there any dogs in the house? I'm like, yes, there are dogs. She's like, all right, how many? What size? Now this is delaying them from coming inside. She's like, I had to like communicate this with them, so give me a second. Whatever. She's typing. Finally, I hear the footsteps and the keys and the boots on the ground, and here come 4 or 5 paramedics, and they're like, okay, cool, we got it from here. Then we got this one guy who's like walking around asking everybody what happened.